earlier. Dr. Yawse Duchum as well. So we keep tabs on the others. We'll definitely let you know as and when we get that information across to you. Dr. Kwame Asasante, good morning. Thank you for joining us as well.
Good morning, Alfred. And let me say good morning to the big men here. And of course, our viewers all over the country.
Indeed.
You're a bigger man.
It's good to have you. And I want to take a brief response from Mr. Bento before Justice Abdullahi comes in. Because of this narrative, which you have actually explained, why this disassociation, the neglect, and also Dr. Bawumia being sidelined is one that could gain grounds. If that is to be considered, what messaging, if Dr. Bawumia wins, would he take to Ghanaians ahead of election 2028 if we want to consider the fact that he was sidelined by the previous administration which he served in? What message then would he take to the people?
What would form the basis of his campaign? Since it was Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and he as vice president who served the country. So what is he going to tell the people?
I am not too sure of the question, but I guess what you're asking is, if he wins, what message will he have for Ghanaians towards 2028? I think that's simple. See, the best indicator of future performance is to look at what the man did in the past.
In their first term, when he was given space, when we clearly knew, because there were public announcements to it, you knew he was sitting in the parliament every time the budget was read. You knew he had a handle on it. People spoke about his management of his leadership of the economic management team, because at that time you had an EMT. The president had mandated him properly. His views were being respected. You saw the performance.
So that's the first step.
That's the first step. Okay, and then you saw in the second term some of the utterances he made about the fact that digitalization is necessary. We need to, get a grip on the country, know who is here, whatever. And all. Recently, he's given a speech where he talked about something called smart formalization. Smart formalization. He did things like the addressing system. You leapfrog the systems, okay, and bring yourself to a point where today we have the national ID. And we know the role he played in some of those things. Of course, there were people who were working on it, but you clearly saw that he championed and pushed it beyond a certain point. And the benefits we are getting from it. You see some
national
idea
ID.
that
We set the national ID.
Oh, this one, let me. I'm talking about championing. You set it up for how many years and it wasn't functional. Let me continue.
Who says it wasn't functional?
Please. When did national ID become an issue? Where today in Ghana, everybody was using it and it's actually working. So let me move on.
You have Regulation 7 of Regulation 7 of LI 2021.
Let's be clear. The National Education Authority
made national ID card compulsory for.
I am not talking about passing laws.
That is about law.
I'm not talking about passing laws.
So if somebody set up a structure
become effective
and provided the legal framework, how is that
national ID card? You take it somewhere.
This propaganda must end today.
You can't cross-check.
As far back as 2011,
something up and it wasn't working.
Who says it wasn't working?
You people tried to do interoperability.
If we let power, you came to continue. You say you came to continue.
You wanted to do interoperability. And you wanted $1.something billion. What?
You say the national ID system wasn't working.
Anybody who was in this country knows that when national ID was set up, okay, for years, you couldn't even register people. You had
So nobody was registered.
Alfred, I am telling you.
No, between
people were registered. I had my national ID card. It was useless. You go to a place and they tell you that the links are not there. Okay, you show it. So it wasn't functional.
So you were registered. No. You see, in the same way, the one who said that Bawumia was sidelined, but you should take credit for the gold reserves. Hold on. If a finance minister sidelined you, how can you take credit for gold reserves?
The microphone is off.
So, anyway,
Your microphone is off. Continue my point.
The microphone is off.
Okay. Yes. Dr. Bawumia clearly, if you don't know, you were not watching, champion crucial projects like interoperability. He didn't start it. Interoperability, as an example, was started under NDC. They tried for years to try and get that thing done, where you could send money. Today, people do it and they take it for granted. They couldn't do it. Finally, we were told that September or something, they were going to take $1.something billion to do interoperability, and then we run them out of office. Dr. Bawumia championed it. He didn't start it.
He came and did it with a fraction, under $100 million, when they were going to take $1 billion. All right? So the point I'm making is not about who started something, but who made it work.
Okay.
All right? And there were so many examples of that. And in the vein of that, they spoke against e-levy, saying that, look, we have a whole new industry coming up, okay, and that you needed to make sure that it grows because that's the way we're going to have a handle on this thing. And a number of things that they did. Now, you can therefore judge a man by the ideas that he has and his ability to even take things that are moribund, things that are not working, like interoperability, make them work and make them deliver positives for this country. Like I said, he spoke about smart formalization recently, a brilliant idea. Okay, today, to run a country like Ghana, okay, and you don't have the institutions and things to give you exactly the information that you need. But if we were to smart formalize, if we were to use this Ghana card thing that we are using and make it better, something that no politician has championed as much as Dr. Bawumia has done, then you know that we'll be going somewhere. So, I don't know what he's going to tell us, but seeing what he has done in the past, which makes me have confidence in him, I have no fear that after he wins today, he will be clear in his articulation of doing the things that we need to do to move this country forward from where it is. And I'm sure that he will succeed.
And I just
because he will be the boss in that sense.
The content of the messaging, that's what you have espoused. Because then if he was sidelined in the second term, then what is he going to campaign on? That's what the essence of the question that I was asking earlier, which you have answered. Justice Abdullahi, is this really going to be one that would work? I mean, if, yes, that element of being sidelined is considered, and in fact, one that, Ghanaians should look at. And then this message of what he has done in the first term and what he is saying now, would that be effective for the NPP?
So, thank you. I think I've listened to my colleagues extensively, and it is obvious there is a divided position on this subject, and each side is very strong about his position, and the biases are obvious also. I don't think Kofi's biases in favor of Bawumia has ever been lost on any Ghanaian. Clearly, you can see the same thing for Martin too. These are people with two opposing views on the personality of Dr. Bawumia. Regardless of what you say, their views will never change. I mean,
I change.
I change. Not with regards to Dr. Bawumia.
Yes.
And the same thing with Kofi.
On this becoming
Kofi would
president.
never change under any circumstance. Even if Bawumia, was to do the most unthinkable thing, his views will still remain the same. Over the years, I
don't think
that's what I've seen.
It's not true.
I don't think that'll be.
I supported Nana Akufo-Addo very much.
Yeah, but your support for Dr. Bawumia is unmatched. At least,
I stay on principle.
Thank God.
So,
that's I didn't need to respond
That's
to
a fair
because
point.
you referenced
to respond now, I don't follow people blindly. I follow principle. I watched Dr. Bawumia, saw how he conducts himself, and that is why he has my support, even though his boss has lost my support. If Dr. Bawumia tomorrow becomes Nana Akufo-Addo, you will hear from me. And he himself
I think that's a very good point, a fair one on that.
Good.
Now, as to whether Bawumia can dispel all the negative narratives of the previous administration, I think that is an impossibility. I'll take us back to the 2008 elections. And in fact, as a matter of fact, 2000 election, when Professor Mills was contesting as the flag bearer of the NDC, and of course, we had John Kufuor for the NPP. Literally all the campaign of the NPP was bringing Jerry Rawlings at the background. There was no single campaign that the NDC ran without Jerry Rawlings in the shadows. In fact, it was as though the elections of 2000, the year 2000, was between John Kufuor and John Rawlings. Even though our flag bearer Mills was the flag bearer. Well, whatever the case may be, the whole essence is to point out the negative narratives, just so it gives you that unfair advantage. Yeah. And so it is normal to see that happening today. And so when Roxanne says that Dr. Bawumia is all the negatives that you can ever think of course it is true because of his association. And it is also true because that is what the NPP did when they had the same opportunity about 26 years ago. And so These are normal things that we should expect. Whether Bawumia can say that, regardless of the situations at the time, he was able to perform and that he was not really in charge, and so should be cut some slack. I do not think that would work.
Is it in the second term?
Whether second term or whatever, the first term, that slack would never be granted him because
why?
By virtue of his position as a vice president, whether it was strategic to remain or it was for other reasons that he remained, Ghanaians would still remember him for what he did or what he did not do or what he could have done. That is how. So if you remember, in the last elections, I was on record to have said that the election was not really between Dr. Bawumia and JM. It was really an election between JM and Nana Akufo-Addo.
Correct.
That was the election that we ran. And I was on record to have said this.
So
and
does
it
that
is
not complement the point?
Correct.
No, it does
So
complement
now
it.
Dr.
No, it
Bawumia,
does. It does. But you cannot dispel that in just 4 years. It will still be behind you. And unfortunately for us, we cannot distinguish between Dr. Bawumia's good works within the 8 years from his bad works. Because at every point in time, what you noticed was that Dr. Bawumia was advancing arguments regarding what all that good that he had done, his association with that administration. I remember he campaigning, for instance, on the banking cleanup exercise. And I kept asking this single question. How do you clean up a system spending more money than you could have used to build? At every point in time, the figures were changing. It started from 12 billion Ghana cedis. By the time the NPP left office, the figures we were hearing was in excess of 20 billion Ghana cedis. Okay, now this is the first time I'm hearing the 30.
They brought 25 to Parliament,
Yeah.
and in the end of year address, it was 30 billion.
God damn it.
Now, let's put this in perspective. Can you imagine what you can do with 30 billion Ghana cedis? In fact, let's even, take the modicum sum of the 12 billion that was initially propagated by the president, because it changed when the finance minister went to Parliament to 18 billion. Dr. Bawumia brought the 22 billion, and now I'm hearing this for the first time, that 30 billion, whichever the figure may be. If you had 12 billion to spend on an economy, it can change the entire face of this economy. The entire face. And you tell me that, in fact, the number of banks, at the time, you needed barely 400 million Ghana cedis to establish a bank. And you spend in excess of 30, multiples of 30 of that amount to clean that bank. How much would you spend to build a new bank? This clearly makes no sense whatsoever.
Okay.
One doesn't need to be an economist or to be an expert in any field to know that this is a complete rubbish that was, in fact, robbery that was orchestrated on the people of Ghana. Martin has said a lot about how people died and all of that, but I think that most of those who died were rather on the DPP rather than, yes, rather than on the banking cleanup exercise. But the banking cleanup exercise was worse for me.
Yes.
For me, it was worse than the debt exchange program. Now, having said this, now Dr. Bawumia, as I was saying, had gone around the country campaigning on the back of this, as though what had happened was such a good thing. Yet today, my brother Kofi is telling us that we should ignore all of that because that is part of the good things. I think I have to refrain from mentioning your name.
Thank you.
Otherwise, you keep interjecting.
Good.
So now we can never ignore some of these errors. Some of these gargantuan fraud that were perpetrated on the people of Ghana. Whether perpetrated by Bawumia himself or by his association with the administration at the time, he is still part and parcel of what happened to the people of Ghana. And it has to be put on record. Now, would that make Bawumia win the flag bearership? Obviously, I do not think that would affect him. And which leads me to the next issue that we need to address. I think this calls for all of us to rethink this delegate system of voting for flag bearership. And I was very happy when last week I saw Professor Frimpong Boateng filing a suit at the Supreme Court.
Together with
together with other people. I think 3 others. Filing a suit at the Supreme Court against both the Electoral Commission and almost all the stakeholders, NPP and NDC in particular.
And CPP.
Thank you. Because I think that the way we have run our democracy on the back of these delegate elections has contributed significantly to some of the messes that we continue to witness. If we change the system, if we change the narrative to make it such that every single member of the political party has a right to vote, I think that's what the Americans do. I don't know. If,
that's what they do.
That's what
it's the ultimate we all want. We've said it, but we are evolving.
We are, I think it has taken us too long a time to get to that point. We should get there to reduce the incidence of corruption and what's it called? The delegates that are compromised to elect people that might not necessarily impact us positively. I think that if we have an expanded voter system where every member, registered member, of course, in good standing of the political party, has a right to vote, I find it difficult to see how a candidate can compromise, assuming the political party, if you go by the numbers that voted for them in the previous elections, if you have 6 million people who voted for each of the political parties at every point in time, were all members of those political parties, I find it difficult how a candidate can compromise 6 million people in order for him to win the flag bearership. Because if that cannot happen, then we are likely to have a sanitized system where the person who is ultimately elected the flag bearer would be a true representation not only of the political party, but also of the generality of the Ghanaian. And so when such a person comes into power, chances are that that person would better serve our interest than serving the kind of interest that does not adhere to anyone's benefit. Right. Because it's our collective good that we should be looking out for, and not the parochial interest of a particular individual or of the centralized system where whoever, the leader of the party at a point in time, whether by way of a president or by way of a party chairman or a secretary, thinks should be the flag bearer, becomes automatically the flag bearer of the party. That contributes to the corrupt nature and sometimes the rot that we witness at the national level. So I think that we should support this. And I would call on the political parties not to wait for the outcome of the spending suit before they reform. The reform must begin now.
Right.
And I think during the week, I saw something from the NDC side calling on all members in government who intend contesting for party offices to resign. Now, that is a good call. I know these have been the system for most of all the political parties over the period. But it should start from there and decentralize into allowing every single member of the political parties to vote in determining who becomes the next leader of the NDC and indeed of the NPP as well.
Okay.
Now, the way you are cutting me, Martin had about an hour speaking. I have been talking for barely 20 minutes.
I'm worried that
Thank you. I applaud you.
That's a good one.
I applaud you that.
Don't. Yes.
It's unfair. Good. So now, the point in fact, what I was driving into is, would Baumia be able to win the elections after the flag bearership? Now, that is quite a very difficult question to answer, because chances are that we are going to have an NDC flag bearer who will be a completely new face, a first in history, but who is going to rely on the performance of John Mahama to advance his argument to be voted for.
Sure.
Now, whoever emerges, potentially, I would prefer Johnson Esirin Ketia, because he's from my village. I'm from his village.
That's your bias.
So I'm biased. Oh, I'm biased.
Identity politics.
I am biased. I am biased. We are both from Sekwa.
I see.
So I am completely biased on that. As a we. But whoever the MDC brings, I think should be able to lead a party in unity in an effort to retain power. Now, what I was saying was that whoever the NDC brings would rely heavily on the performance of John Mahama. Today, it is very easy to say that that person can easily win the elections because of the sterling performance of JM. But unfortunately, you cannot rely on 1 year performance to determine what happens in the next 3 years.
Sell 18 tons of gold.
It is not possible to rely on that to project what could happen. And so, chances are that if this administration goes very well, as it is already doing, then the person will have a positive track record to sell. And Baumia comes in with a huge negativities to fight this new person, so that the person will be coming with a new face or known face, first of all, but with good record. As against Bawumia, who is a known face, but with a bad record. Now, that is where the dynamics as to who can become the president of this republic will be very decisive in fact, in a lot of ways, it will be very complicated. And I think we need to be looking out for that kind of face. And the advantage the NDC has, if they bring Esidun Ketia, is that he's already a known face.
He has not even come out to say.
Well, I don't think. So, I think at this point I will use the words of Kofi to say that unless you are not a watcher of the political space. Unless you are not a watcher of the political space.
Okay, thank you. But Dr. Sasante, we start off this conversation with polls either predicting an outcome of a win for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and then also a research pointing to a win for Kennedy Ejapong. And then also how, the prophecies also come to play in all of this. Plus, if there's an outcome of either Kennedy Ejapong or Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia winning, because it appears clearly they are the two front runners, how that would inure to the benefit or detriment of the new patriotic party going into 2028. What's your take on this?
Interesting. Alfred, thanks for the opportunity. As a student of democracy, I'm always interested when people use scientific process to determine voter choices and voter direction. Let us bear in mind that my PhD is on voter choices, but particularly how to win power, what message, what strategy, and what are some of the tactics you use in winning elections. So one of the means by which you can really be comfortable in deciding what type of strategy to employ, what type of message to churn around, obviously is a function of research. So surveys and all that, I support that. But of course, I support scientific surveys, not bogus surveys. Because some people can go and concoct and throw some things out, and we struggle to understand them. Right? The statisticians will tell you that even if you use wrong approach and you arrive at something which at the end of the day becomes truthful, that cannot be accepted in statistics. So you can hear all manner of surveys. Professor Notte and Co will tell you that if they subject it to statistical scrutiny and it doesn't pass the test, that survey is a bogus one. But the right survey, which has followed all the canons of research, I am for it. It gives you an idea, a sense of what people are thinking about the focus and direction of voter choices and the rest of them. So I have seen interesting surveys, and they all point to the fact that Bawumia is winning, Kennedy cannot also be ignored, and the rest of them. Let me balance it with what? Prophecies that we have seen in recent times. Currently, I'm working on a paper on prophecies and elections. And, it is interesting that you are hearing what you are hearing from men of God, as it were. Because if you read in BT, it said that African is notoriously religious. An African is notoriously religious. So if you are a political communicator and you watches the political field and you are developing messages, obviously you can't discount this. You want to throw in something religious, and that will resonate with the people to some extent. And I'll send your mind back to jingles of the political parties. John 3:16, he make reference to Bible, and people will look sharp. Then, they cite Quranic verses and all that. These are part and parcel of the process to, get voters to your side. But as to whether those prophecies will be able to influence voter choices to the extent that it will help that individual to carry the day, that is completely no. Because you see, you can prophesy that this person will win, and incidentally that person wins. The statisticians will throw it away. Come to my area, governance. Can you also prophesy how you can govern? How you can govern? It becomes a difficulty. But I understand that in Ghanaian politics, these are part and parcel of Ghanaian political culture. right? So small time when there are difficulties, the robbing religion, you know, because religion is the opium of the masses. Remember, Achampong, General, when economic conditions became so difficult in his time, he organized a week prayer. Can you imagine that? What would prayer do when the economy is failing? Nothing. But read Kevin Shillington. He organized what? A week prayer. We saw when crisis, doom saw and water drought and all that. President Kufuor, some people march on to what? Akosomo Dam and blew trumpet with the hope that there will be rains from heaven. All these things, because you know the African is notoriously what? Religious. So when you throw this thing in, you get some people who follow the religious dictates, and then it will sway some people one way or the other. Remember, we are talking about election, and the name of the game is what? Numbers. So when you get one, especially when you have an electoral system who said first past the post system, one vote, you carry the day.
Sure.
So it's important, but it will not influence people that much, because read, you know, other scholars, they tell you that people vote based on the things that they derive from the electoral process, done and his theories and all that. It's a people vote because of what? The benefits of election. Now coming back to look at Bawumia, Kennedy and all that, I'll start with Bawumia. I've had a lot of comment, and when I was in the waiting room, I was listening to Kofi with rapt attention, and some of the things he said, very interesting. All right, Bawumia, for him, he has said he supports him and all that. And I like Kofi. This is my first time of seeing him. He was a mate of my wife. And so, yes, so I always tell him, I like his argument, but sometimes
me too.
And here you are.
But you don't know where.
Yeah, I went to different schools.
No,
I'm talking about law school.
I thought undergrad.
Yes. Sometimes you come out very interesting argument, I follow, but sometimes I disagree with you. Right, and it's normal. That's right. If you look at Bawumia, for me, and I want to be blunt here, if the NPP want to put him on the ballot, they must be prepared for disaster.
Oh, how?
Yes, and I speak bluntly. You see, for you to win election, and that is not to say that Bawumia has certain negatives and all that. He's a fine gentleman. He is not corrupt. And these are the things that really bring people down. But beyond that, there are things that are going to work against him. And those are the things I'm talking about. All right.
I see.
One, if you want to win election, you need somebody with less baggage. If you don't consider that, it becomes a raw material for opposition to use against you. What is the baggage here?
Yes, what's the baggage?
Right. Bawumia, before becoming what he became, has identified himself as a great scholar. There's no doubt about that. I don't doubt his academic credentials, not at all. But Nana Akufo-Addo made us believe that he's a new Adam Smith of our time, and he will be able to turn things around. All right. I did not doubt his competence. But when Bawumia came first term of office, we saw improvement in economy. The rest is history. But the second tenure, you saw the difficulties. Yes. One would have thought that given his experience and all that he stood for, he would have been able to what? Turn the tide around. But events took a different turn. We saw negative, and the economy slipped through the hands of the government, and the rest is history. I'm not here to recount that. We all saw that. Inflation figures, things that keep economy healthy, were all in the negative. If not all, most of them. So the savior, what was he? He was rather in another field, digitization. There's nothing wrong about that. But one also was asking himself that, if that is the case, then why did Nana Akufo-Addo harp on his strength and all that so much that when we needed him the most, we couldn't find Bawumia? For me, voters are looking for questions, answers from him. And it will be very difficult, if not impossible, for him to answer. You saw his interesting lectures prior to he ascending into the throne and all that. Very interesting lectures. Workers are suffering and all that. Look, when we're getting to the end of their tenure, when they were playing the tapes, I saw one of the videos. You couldn't help but laughing. These tapes are raw materials that NDC use, and they will continue to use if you put Bawumia on the ballot. I tell you, they will come to him, and he will find it difficult to answer. Remember, politics is nothing but what? A contest of ideas and a referendum of your work. Where are your works? We want to see and integrate them and decide as to how you can make use of them to further your cause. Yes. All right. That said, I want to also come to the issue of they say he was sidelined.
Yes, because I was just going to tie that into the point you made that yes, the first time we saw his impact, his influence.
Yes.
If you listen to Kofi Bento, he talks about the second term.
Yes.
And that narrative of him being sidelined is derived from the second term and the performance of the Kufuor administration in the second term. To say that, look, if Dr. Bawumia wasn't sidelined, maybe things would have been different.
Right. If he was sidelined, what prevented him to resign? Let me take us back to history. One historian, Hugh Trevor-Roper, he said history is nothing but how we have arrived here from where we come from. All right. If you just suppose this on that, look at how President Kufuor, he was with the PNDC. And he saw the focus and direction of the government and said that, look, I can't continue. He resigned. You have to vote with your feet if you are not comfortable. But if you stay in, you have no right to say that, look, you were disappointed and all that. No. No. You have to what? Make a decision. So once he did not what? Jump out and he stayed in, the sins of the previous government will be visited on him. And he has no right to say that, look, he was sidelined and all that. If you read Lord Salisbury, it said if you are in a government and the government you feel uncomfortable with, you can't continue to be there. You need to resign. Otherwise, you must be blamed for whatever happened.
And that's what Kofi Bento said. Look, it's and there are others who believe same. That would have been politically suicidal for him to resign, and that would jeopardize his political future for that matter.
Touch wood. I'm saying this. I mean, it will not happen. If Bawumia had died before that time, I mean, are you saying we are not going to have NPP as solid as it was? No. Nobody is indispensable. Are you with me? You have to resign and save yourself. Otherwise, you have no business. Because, you see, it is very interesting. If you look at some of the places that Bawumia also chalked successes, he jumped to it. He was ready for what? Success. But blame, he ran away. In politics, no. Remember, politics goes with what? Reward and punishment. If you are not ready to defend your records and you always want to hide behind certain things, when people get opportunity, they will punish you. Politics deals with reward and punishment. Let me also continue.
How would punishment already?
Yeah, he's going to receive more.
No, he's going to receive more
punishment.
Right. Because you see, in politics, you also talk about, if you want to win election, you talk about your constituencies. What are the Bawumia's constituencies? Bawumia, has endeared himself to the hearts of many scholars. There's no doubt about that. A great scholar, fine scholar, gentleman. He's cast in the mood of proper MPP people, I can say without fear of contradiction. That is a fact. All right? He has constituencies. He has constituencies with Muslim. Being a Muslim is a factor. Even though I know religion play very little or no role in voter choices. Are you with me? But regional politics is a fact. Regionalism is different from ethnicity. I can be in a region, north, all right? Yes, it's different from me being an Akan or Ebe. So regional politics is critical. Let's look at the last election. How was Bawumia's performance in the northern region, his home region? Abysmally poor, all right? What has he done to change the thinking of the people to the extent that this time around, they are going to what? Vote for him. Look at his own stronghold, all right, the Ashanti region, or even Ghana as well. They were saying that they lost about 1.7 million people of their own people who did not go to vote. If that argument is anything to go by, what has Bawumia done within that few period of time, from 2024 election up to date, to change the thinking of those people to the extent that they believe that this time around, when you put him on the ballot, they will come and vote massively for him. Now that he's even outside power, what has he done in terms of policy, in terms of direction and focus? It's simply what? Non-existent. All right, EMT, Economic Management Team. Kofi says something that he doesn't. It is a kind of group that doesn't have any power and all that. If I quoted you rightly.
Constitutional basis.
Right. Constitutional basis. Let's flip the coin. If that body, the second term, did so well and economy improved and all that, don't you think Bawumia would have jumped to it that yes, it was the powerful hand of Bawumia, he changed the dynamics and today the record. Because it failed, that body refuses to be an important body.
Professor Dambafo.
Yes. Okay. He mentioned them, all the members and all that.
What
because they failed. If they had won, and they would convince us that look, it's the handiwork of Bawumia. All right. But I can understand. All right, because in politics, you play into places you have your strength. So where you have weaknesses, you shy away. Because I know from Donovan and Co. that politics deals with lies and deception. So sometimes there is lies, deception, and manipulation. I follow that. One of the things that will be difficult, if not impossible for Bawumia to address, are the lectures he did and the tapes that are currently in existence. When they play it to him, he will find it difficult to answer them. Remember, people go into election and they are looking for what? Past records. Because you see, my good friend Justice Abdullah is saying that yes, he supports the Siedu Ketia. There's nothing wrong about that. But you see, you have to depend on records of the party. Not only Mahama, but all NDC records will come to play when you are looking for somebody who will lead the party. So it's not a very simple matter. All right.
Okay.
And my last submission in this area is that the sense of previous government. Because if the previous government had done so well, you would take advantage of that and campaign on that strength to win voter choices. But here you are. If the previous government had a lot of problems, which Kofi has alluded to, that Nana wasn't his favorite president, which I agree with him. All right. Because of the things that he did. This, I have no doubt in my mind, will come and visit Bawumia, and especially when he was a vice president. Do you know why we select a vice president? 3 things.
Please round off for me.
1 is that you select a vice president so that where the president falls short in terms of strength, you come and augment that. 2, there are certain areas that you believe that the president doesn't have opportunity, in that area to strengthen that area and all that. You bring in a vice president so that the vice president will be able to fill that gap. Why did President Obama appoint Mr. Biden? Biden was a very good diplomat in terms of diplomacy. Remember, America is what it is in terms of diplomacy. So this is a true lawyer, a legal personality. But let me bring a diplomat, somebody who knows the ins and outs of diplomacy. And then we tie our apron string together and see that he can also get votes for us and all that. So when you put all this thing together, Bawumia is a difficult choice. But if you look at the polls, and if the polls are anything to go by, he is the one who is going to emerge victorious. But you have to look at the larger picture, that having won the primaries, what will happen when he comes face to face with a dominant political party such as the NDC and their flag bearer. Maybe if you give me time, I'll look at what Kennedy Japan do and see whether each of them, and even all of them, who is best material for them if they really are interested in political power.
Right, well, just a brief on that point as well, but just to remind our viewers that if you're seeing the videos on the side of the screen, that these are live videos of what's happening at some of the polling stations. Just to give you an idea, that the process has been peaceful, as has been widely reported. No incidents as yet. And we expect that none of it would happen because the Ghana Police Service has assured their presence in the place, all these polling stations. And so we're keeping an eye on how things play out. Gentlemen, stop. Please. How all things play out. But it's some 20 minutes to the hour 11 here on Key Point. We're live on 3FM 92.7 on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London, and the Voice of London television as well. And we'll go on to your bit on Kennedy Japan.
Yeah.
Just quickly, briefly, because I want us to touch on the Pandai.
Let me react to Kofi. Let me react to Kofi quickly. You see, in an article called Political Economy of Momo Interoperability and Transactions in Ghana, 2018, Ali Yakubu et al. They traced the history of Momo and interoperability. Launched in August 2009. And then the legal framework was put in place in 2011. By September 2016, Momo operators had exceeded the population of Ghana. Population of Ghana then was estimated to 27.4 million. Operators had exceeded between over 34 point something million. So this argument that Dr. Bawumia championed this interoperability, Momo and this interoperability, cannot be accurate. He came to continue. But the record, the data academically determined, it doesn't support this argument. And I think it has to die today. Two.
You lead me in temptation.
You have some few minutes on this.
Yes,
I don't want to.
Dr. Bawumia sideline. When we're campaigning in 2024, June, Dr. Bawumia told us that he had championed 33 policies. Good policies of the NPP administration. John Mahama should show him one policy that he championed. So, if as a vice president you could lay claim to championing 33 good policies of the government, like Doc said, if you inherit the credits, you might inherit the demerits. Politics is about inheriting merits and demerits, the pluses and the minuses. So whatever went wrong, we'll blame you for it because you took credit for the good ones. So that argument too must fail. So the issue, this issue about the fact that Nana Akufo-Addo was not his favorite president, Kofi, your champion is coming. The one only disappointed you. He was your favorite, but he disappointed you. So don't tell us that he wasn't your favorite. He was, but you were disappointed because the hopes that you told us, you gave us, that Nana Akufo-Addo will come and turn Ghana into heaven. It rather happened in the conference.
So he has said two things. Both of them are factually inaccurate, and facts are important. I have said, that yes, we, including Martin, worked hard for Nana Akufo-Addo to come because of the abysmal performance of the previous NDC government.
That was clearly
That's a fact. Good. But upon being this disappointed, we've abandoned him, and I'm saying that in principle, based on the things I've seen, factually I can, defend.
But the man was your favorite.
I beg.
Because he was your favorite.
Hold on. Thank you.
Okay. Now, I have moved and I said I still believe that Dr. Bawumia can do a job. Then the other thing you say, you wax lyrical and quote all kinds of things about Momo and interoperability. Momo is different from interoperability. Momo
I referenced an academic article.
Yes, and I'm saying you didn't do a good justice to them.
Well,
That's what they said.
I did.
Okay, listen.
I did.
Let me make my
point.
Let me make my point.
Go and read page 9 of the article.
He is responding to a point that you made. So let's just.
It could not be that those academics that you refer to are equating Momo, mobile money, the existence of mobile money, the ability to send money from your phone to another person's phone on the same network is mobile money.
Yes.
Interoperability is the ability to send from one network to the other network, to your bank, back to your phone, that kind of thing. That is a totally different thing. Even in the whole world.
The framework was set up under ED in 2011.
Thank you. Hold on.
Roxanne, you can't sidetrack me. You said what you said. I continue. Roxanne is wrong to quote and suggest that some people are equating mobile to interoperability because the two are different. Across the world, there are not that many countries where you will find the kind of interoperability that Ghana has, where you can send from one network to the other.
I haven't said they are the same. I said they trace the history. They gave you the history.
What you.
No, but it's misquoting me.
No,
they trace the history of Momo, they trace the history of interoperability.
Because you reference, you didn't go so much into detail. That's why I said you didn't do justice.
So I am correcting it for the sake of the viewers that Momo is different from interoperability. One, I never said Dr. Bawumia brought Momo. What I said is that under the previous government, they could not implement interoperability. We lived here. And trust me, I was in that industry. They tried and tried and tried. All kinds of monies were spent. In the end, they went and cut a deal for somebody to come and implement interoperability at the price of $1.2 billion.
You see,
No, everybody Google it.
You see, the history of Momo came first. Let interoperability follow. It took the legal regime. So if a city and say somebody cut a deal,
they cut a deal. Didn't you guys? Let me finish.
Who cut a deal?
End your point.
So, the previous NDC government went and brought some people, and they cut a deal, as in they entered a contract with those people to execute interoperability for the price of $1.2 billion. Fortunately, we ran them out of government because that regime was full of corruption. Then, the new government comes in, and that is the first step that we keep talking about. $4.5 million. And guess who was leading it? Dr. Baumia. If
we initiated a contract
on the floor, I would allow that.
For purposes of introducing interoperability to the e-transaction sphere.
Thank you.
And you came to review the
contract. Not being
contract.
heard, actually. Yes.
Anyway.
4.5, compare $1.2 billion to $4.5 million. Okay? And he executed it in record time. Up to today, it's working. Today, you can send money from your Momo to your bank, from this place to that place, and there are few countries in the whole world where it is working, it is solid, it is helping people, etc. And the point I'm making is that the level of competence it takes to lead something like this and to do it this well for 4.5 million, different from 1.2 billion, is the difference between Dr. Baumia and NDC. Which is what I'm saying. When you put Dr. Baumia against NDC, bring a Sedun Kitia, bring whoever you want to bring. Okay, these are the things that will play out, and Ghanaians will make a choice. And look, I've been listening to Prof here. Okay, I'm telling you, people don't have a problem with the person of Dr. Baumia. People have a problem with the baggage that he brings because he was part of the government. He's paid the price for that in the last election. Okay, so he's going to go into this one with his own strength. He will make his own case, and we have at least 2 more years to go. And I'm saying, in the first year, things are great. It has been so for 32 years.
2 minutes. You are giving me 5 minutes.
Okay,
please.
Just this February, we are learning that they sold half of the gold that was built up. We don't know what's happening in the next 2 years. So a long time to come in politics. Let us see how it will pan out.
You say if he's paid the price already,
He's paid the price
does that
already.
punishment wipe his slate clean?
No.
Going into 2028?
Nobody's slate is clean in politics. Nobody. In fact, if you want to know who your great-grandfather's girlfriend is, run for office. Nobody's slate is clean in politics. When you get into the limelight, people will dig up everything there is to dig up about you. But it is not negative entirely. People also bring out the positives there are about you. And I'm saying that when you are objective about... There are people like Martin who don't want to hear Dr. Baumia. But if you're objective, including Doc and Co., honest, objective people in their quiet times, there's nothing wrong with Dr. Baumia. Indeed, there is nobody on the scene right now who Ghanaians naturally trust and believe is the right person. And I keep saying that the facts show that for 20 years of intense scrutiny, that man has come out leading NPP today.
But through the objective lenses, put Dr. Mahmoud Bamia's positives and the negatives side by side, which one outweighs the other?
Positives, absolutely. Because you see, the thing that we are calling his negatives is baggage about not what he did, what somebody did by association. It's like saying your father is a drunkard, so you're going to turn out to be a drunkard. It's not true. Okay. It's not likely to happen. But the positives are things that he took on and did, and for which we can see that his influence has brought this to pass. Interoperability. Today, everybody is using it.
Thank you. Let's 1 minute. 1 minute. Dr. Baumia was not the Minister of Communications.
He led interoperability.
You see, we know when I said the Greek ministry took $500 million.
He didn't lead that
to revamp the cocoa sector. You asked me whether he was the minister.
But he didn't lead that.
Was he the minister of communication?
He led.
So you see, this attempt to whitewash Dr. Baumia won't fly.
Google it.
Dr. Baumia, he won't fly.
Google it.
Dr. Baumia is such a disappointment.
Need to 30
to
seconds.
everyone.
He's the one who signed the contract that padded America $800 million.
Thank you very much.
They were taking $800 million into their package. Then he
if we
said he was
initiated something, he
misled.
came to review it.
Bawumia was the one.
Gentlemen, now the decision
Both of you are to introduce interoperability came from us.
It's not about the decision. You couldn't do it.
What do you mean? You couldn't do it? And you were telling me you couldn't do it.
Billion.
What do you mean you couldn't do it?
Most of that money was going to be stolen.
What do you mean?
It was done for $4.5 million.
Your microphones are off. Only Japan has also been talking after his vote. He cast his ballot earlier in the morning. Take a look.
I don't think it's an issue because we're all going to come together as one party and work. So this shouldn't be a problem at all. And you should, as for contest, you should expect that sometimes it gets very tough and certain words are used which are not palatable, but hey, you have to take it as it is. And that doesn't mean you should go out of the party. So I hope if I'm the winner, I will be able to bring the party together.
Some delegates are done voting, others are yet to. What would be your message, particularly to those who are yet to hit the voting centers?
Well, all I'll say, they should vote number one. And with what I've seen here, I hope it's everywhere. So far, so good. Yeah.
Yesterday, I did speak.
Oh, gentlemen, yes, please. No, please. Gentlemen, come. Okay, thank you. That's Kennedy in Japan there. So we also heard from, in fact, we had one of our colleagues speak to Samuel Atachia as well, who has expressed support for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia after he cast his ballot earlier. This is what he said. Take a look.
It's not intended to be violent, and it's fair. So in the final analysis, if you are not successful, it will be very difficult for you to say that, oh, you'll be cheating. What is it that you have to do if your candidate didn't win? You need to support the one who won, so that in that unity of purpose, you'll be able to give NDC 110. That is what should be the aim of anybody who thinks seriously that is an authentic NPP person. You can't say you are for NPP, but you are enjoying the disunity of the party you belong. The house divided against itself shall not stand. So whatever the pain is, whatever you said, somebody.
Well, so you know what? I please, gentlemen, I want some quiet in the studio. Wrong there. Thank you.
You get what I'm saying? Yes.
Dr. Sasante, please. Let's hear from Dr. Yause Duchum as well. Take a look.
I just want you to know that I'm very appreciative of the work that has been done by the leaders of this constituency rallying around me to campaign for me, to do whatever it takes to ensure that we end at the finish line with pride. So we are ending with pride. I'm happy that I'm here today. I tell people that if when I was growing up, if somebody had told me that one day you run for the flag bearership of a major party, the New Patriotic Party, even if the person was a prophet, I would have said, no, not me. But today I'm here. Divine Providence has admonished us to fear delegates. I can connect with these delegates. They are my own, and I've served them well. And I hope they will also reciprocate by saying, we thank you for your service to our constituency and as you aspire to move up.
Well, that's one of the 5 seeking to lead the New Patriotic Party today. That's Dr. Yause Duchum, former Minister of Education, MP for the Bosomchik constituency there. And that's the constituency that he cast his ballot, by the way. And some 6 minutes to the top of the hour, 11, this is your Election Command Center. We're live on 3FM 92.7, on TV3 Ghana, on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279 all across the world, on 3news.com. Quite a number of your messages that we I'm going to get through in a bit. This one here from, okay, Dr. Louise Asante says, ask Kofi Bento if he trusts the current team
around Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, they are the same, most of whom let Nana Akufo-Addo down. And I want to find out from him if he has any idea whether that team will be maintained going to 2028 if Dr. Bawumia wins. You want to respond to that?
Yes, I want to respond to that. Again, I don't speak for them, but I have no doubt that Dr. Bawumia is surrounded by people now because he's seeking office. When he gets it, he will form his team. It will not be this team.
This current team around him.
I don't ever see Dr. Bawumia maintaining this team. See, a political party is a mechanism. You inherit it. Okay? And when you are looking for the flag bearership, you are vulnerable. That is not the time where you push people off, you take people off, and you sideline people. It's a game of numbers. You bring everybody on board. But when you have it now, then you form your team. I am almost surely certain that the team will be different from the people you find around him now.
So is that an admission that there could be some liability with this current team?
You see, this current team more or less is in